You ever wish you could move a wall or floor ever so slightly but not the distance of an entire square? Or that you could put stairs right in the middle of a square? With triangles, you can divide squares in many different ways. In this video, I will demonstrate how to shift squares with triangles. I spent an ungodly amount of time placing the first square, and I think this spot will look good from a distance. Now I want to create a row of 3 small squares, split the 2 side pieces in half, and shift all 3 just a small fraction forward. I will accomplish this by placing a triangle on the right side of the back edge of the large square. I will then connect a second triangle to the left edge of the first triangle, then a small square to the back edge of the second triangle. I then delete both triangles, copy the small square twice, and then copy the small squares forward until they are in the location I want. The footage has been sped up by 175%. The single sloping roof pieces can be difficult to get into place if there are too many pieces put down. For this reason, if used, I try to get the sloping pieces placed before too many walls are added. Placing the handrails is the only real pain in the ass with this build. The key to free placement, I've found, is to be mindful that every single camera movement affects the axis of rotation depending on the positioning of the camera. Once you have a piece put down with free placement, however, you can then use snapping to anchor other pieces to the same axis as the first piece. As you can see, I'm having a hard time getting a wall placed here. That's not because I'm doing anything wrong. The system is just having a hard time figuring out which snap point I'm aiming for. So all I have to do is delete some of the small squares above, and I can then place them again after the walls are installed. The second floor looks a lot more daunting and tedious than it really is. A bunch of small squares first need to be placed, then once the stairs and everything are in place, the small squares can be deleted 4 at a time and replaced with larger squares until you have a floor pattern that you like. For the sake of expediency, I settled with this. Once I'm happy with the basic structure, I then go through and replace the parts with ones that I like the look of. I don't really like holes in floors or things poking through the floors and ceilings, so whenever I see something poking through the floor like this, I make a little well to cover it up. I just think it makes things look a little more tidy. I personally prefer to use lights that require wires because I like to see how straight I can make the wires or how well I can hide them. I already showed a couple ways to handle wires in a previous video, so for this build I mainly opted for the speed of wireless lighting. Though I couldn't help it, I still had to sneak one wired light into the build.